ready for me. So let's just think of a typical night on TV. You turn on the news, you watch CBS, you watch ABC. You either see a political sex scandal or you see a TV show based on like Scandal or House of Cards on Netflix, where they dramatize these sex scandals or people going behind each other's backs to do something. Now, they dramatize that, but that actually happens every day in our life. I think we can all look back and we can see, go on like watching our parents watch TV, and we can hear about Anthony Weiner sending a picture of his wiener. Or we can think of the kissing congressman from this last year in his elections. Now, I'm here to tell you today that this has actually always been the case. Since 1791, or since our country was founded, historians have said that there have been at least 7 presidential sex scandals since our country was founded. That was actually backed up by Robert P. Watson, a historian who specializes in the political scandals. And I'm basically today here to tell you about political sex scandals and how they've progressed through our country with the media and who's promoting them and why we hear so much about them today. So, the first political sex scandal happened in 1791 with Alexander Hamilton. He was our Secretary of the Treasury, and his affair was with Maria Reynolds. So she basically, it was a weird story. She came to his house and she was looking for a place to stay because her husband was crazy. But in reality, her husband and her teamed up to blackmail Alexander Hamilton and used their affair to get money out of him and to get power. So then they started selling their story to different people, and his political opponents actually used that story to release pamphlets. He did something that we don't actually see a lot of. He owned up to it. He released a book saying how everything happened, he owned up to it, and actually everybody forgot about it. He still kept his positions, he didn't resign, and it was fine. The next one is Thomas Jefferson. His is probably one of the most famous from our history. He allegedly had an affair with Sally Hemings, one of his slaves, which in that time was a humongous deal. And so a lot of his political opponents, again, started attacking him. It wasn't much of the media attacking him, but it was people who worked with him in Congress, people who wanted to be president, and they started to attack him and his character. He never owned up to it, and people eventually forgot about it after he made some other big decisions in his presidency. But his was one of the most widely researched in the most recent years, and Monticello.org, the website that sponsors his presidential library, has said that DNA testing found no genetic links between the Hemings and Carr descendants, which linked him and his slaves to his DNA. And so from that point on, there were about 4 more scandals. One was Grover Cleveland and Warren G. Harding. They both were accused of fathering children that they never really owned up for, or paying under the table to kind of hide that child and pay child support so the wife was kept quiet. And no one really reported on this. The media didn't really follow them around, they weren't hounding them. And it was just kind of under the table, everybody kind of understood this was how politics was. Now, getting later into the 20th century, one of our most famous presidents, JFK, and we all know the stories about how he had affairs with Marilyn Monroe, the famous movie star, Mimi Alford, and Judith Campbell Exner, one of them which was one of his interns in the White House. He had these affairs going on from when he was in the House, to even before he was in the government, to when he was president. No one reported on this. It shows in writings from that time that people were aware of it in the White House that these were happening, just no one addressed it, and the reporters didn't really care. After that, everything started to change. In 1987, the 1987-1988 presidential election, the Democratic nominee, Gary Hart, was caught in a sex scandal. People started accusing him that he had a mistress, that he was cheating on his wife, and he basically told the media, "Follow me around, you won't find anything," which to his luck, they actually did find things. They found videos of him with his mistress, they found things of that nature. But this was the first political scandal of the satellite age, so we kind of had internet, we had mass television, everybody in their households had TV, so they saw this scandal unfolding worldwide. And from Matt Bay, a reporter from Politico magazine, he actually reported on the scandal about 2 months ago, saying 27 years ago, Fiedler and others got caught up in a big story with all the natural competitiveness and adrenaline and binding career ambition. This kind of shows where we're at today. this was the first time that people constantly saw reporting on political scandals and how we all know them today, where it's constantly being blasted in your face that something's happened and it gets really annoying. Now, they kind of linked it to the adrenaline to get ahead in life, to that competitiveness of the 1980s to be the best. And they say that's why. And then the reporters also said that they did it for a moral code. They said that everybody had the right to know what their presidential candidates were doing. And then basically the presidential candidates shot back saying that it was unfair to their personal life, that it was being exploited. Now, to our most famous, for one of our most famous political sex scandals in American history, Bill Clinton. We all know the story about how he had an affair with Monica Lewinsky, one of his White House interns. This one gained the most attention because Bill Clinton was impeached by the House for his scandal, and it wasn't the first scandal he had. Throughout his presidency and throughout his political campaigns, it was shown. But there are many more scandals in history, and I'm here to show you a little bit of what he said, Bill Clinton has said. Sorry.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
And now we see that is not true. But it's up to you to keep an eye on these scandals and for you to keep your own moral compass to decide, is it right for us to know their personal lives, or is it right for the reporters to report them to us? So just keep that in mind the next time you go on TV and you see about another 1,500 sex scandals. Thank you.